for this.
Greetings, good people. Welcome to PR Lunch Hour 2025's edition of our PR Lunch Hour that many of you have known from Twitter Spaces and LinkedIn Audio. And now we have a fresh new podcast just for all of you to make sure you don't miss an episode. I'm your girl, Tonya McKenzie, your girl T, your PR media expert, and this is
PR Lunch Hour.
And you are
Tamara Sykes. Sorry. I will get better at this over time, okay? Just give me a second. But I'm Tamara Sykes, multi-hyphenate brand builder. So you either know me from my role at Stacker Media as the head of client content strategy, or you know me as your girl that helps you build a personal brand that helps you achieve your dreams and build a life you deserve. So
I love that. I love how you're finally embracing all that, but we'll get into that
yes.
in a minute. Listen, y'all, today we are going to talk about our wins and losses. PR Lunch Hour has been very consistent with always celebrating the wins of our PR community because we know that we live vicariously through each other and every win does not happen instantly, but when we get it, we share it to make sure that we all keep hope alive when things are a little difficult. We also talk about our losses because we also go over how you get over losses and how you deal with them. In this business, we run across them all the time. We get more no's than we get yes. So how do we overcome those? We're going to talk about some poor PR because we know that it's out there. And many of you that might not even be in public relations have probably experienced some PR losses. So we'll get into those too. Hot topics. And brilliant branding. There is an opportunity to really see how other people are branding brilliantly and take some of those ideas and implement them yourself. And lastly, we always want to know what's coming up for you, and we share what's coming up for us so you know what to look out for. So let's go ahead and get into our wins and losses for 2025. This is our first show, 2025. So Tam, let's get started with you. Give me your wins and losses, or just wins. I'm fine with just wins right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have to start off on a good foot here. Okay, so wins, we're here. We are here. We have made it to podcast level. We've been doing this for what, over 2 years? I think I'm underselling.
No, it's 3.5 years.
3.5. Oh my gosh, see? So the win is that we are here. We're 3.5 years, and we're moving to podcast so everyone can join us. This is really big. This is huge. And kudos to Tonya for being on this ride with me and for pushing us to this level. My other win is that I actually relaunched my newsletter, which is amazing. It is called New Heights. So it's all about taking your brand to new heights, especially your personal brand. And so you can sign up at babyandgirl.com. Hit me up on LinkedIn if you want the full link, but that's my biggest win. And I'm super excited about that. I feel like the loss is that we really have to not get caught up in that social media is always our home to share our brands. And I know that companies know this, but I think professionals, we need to know this as well. And we've seen that change in the media landscape, and we need to adopt that. It's like a lot of changes happening on Meta and TikTok up in the air. We need to have our own platforms. Okay. So I'm going to be going back on that messaging by doing it myself.
Absolutely. For me, everyone, I am in Los Angeles, California. I always say I'm from the Bay to LA and back. So I'm back in LA. I've been out here about 11 years now. I'm just a California girl. So watching this devastation take place, it's a win and a loss because obviously there are people around us that are losing their homes. Some people have lost family members, their businesses, but it's also a win because my family is safe and we're good, but also understanding that the resilience of California always shines bright. This is not our first tragedy. It will not be our last. Quick story. Please don't hold this against me. And the longer you stick around, you'll learn more about me and my family dysfunction. But my cousin, one of my cousins, had set the largest fire in San Jose history back when I was in like junior high school. So I'm born and raised in San Jose, California. And I remember when it happened, it was some warehouse out in San Jose. I think it was like the industrial area, and he wound
Hmm.
up setting the biggest fire. And I'm sitting here watching my cousin get arrested on the news. It was wild. So, all that being said, I got to watch San Jose rebuild a part of their city. Yes, girl, go ahead and laugh. If listen, it we don't get to pick our family members. But to his credit, after
True.
he got out, he has recuperated and he's doing well in his adult life. But he was a young teenager being out doing ridiculous stuff with his friends, and he set the largest fire in San Jose history. We've had our Bay Area earthquakes. We had the was it Loma Prieta earthquake out here
Mhm.
Los Angeles. I went to Cal State Northridge while we were literally rebuilding the school. We had class. Can you imagine being at a university and having class in bungalows? That's what we called them. We found, later they're trailers,
Okay, I
but
was gonna say like, what?
we we'd be like the bungalows.
Yeah, I was like,
But
how?
we went to school. Our first few years of college was not in classrooms, it was in trailers. So,
Wow.
one thing that is for sure is we know how to rebuild, we know how to be resilient. You can go to the Cal State Northridge now. You don't even recognize what it was back then. I actually went, Morris Chestnut was there. He used to be in the bungalows.
Mm.
Um, but most of the time, we rebuild bigger and better. So, the win, yeah, we're safe. Also, that people have been reaching out all over the nation that I've had the opportunity to work with, live, and love over the years. So it has been very heartfelt to have so many people reach out. But also, the losses is watching people that that I don't know anyone that does not know someone that hasn't lost their house, their business, or someone
Mm.
at this point. That's where
Mm.
we are. And people think LA is so big. It is big, but we're also a community, which
Mhm.
means we know each other. It's not 6 degrees of separation out here. It's really about three max. We know someone that knows someone, right? Or either we know them. So that is unfortunately kind of the situation out here, and I don't want to glaze over that as we move forward. But also making sure that you understand we know that we are a resilient people and we will rebuild. Also, because I am in media, I do have to tell you do not listen to everything you hear on social media and these random platforms. If there is something you want to know or you want to make sure that you're getting good information, ask someone in the news department, not commentary, but actual news. Go to
Mhm.
news departments and feel free to ask me. I'm an LA County Commissioner. Our supervisors are putting out information on a regular basis. Santa Clara County Sheriff Department is putting out great information, but get verified information. Don't just go off what you keep hearing because there's a lot of lies going on. And yes, people are playing politics with people's lives, which is unfortunate, but we also know that's a part of the media scenery right now. So, all that being said, those are my wins and losses. But biggest win is we're here. Like Tam said, we survived through COVID with PR Lunch Hour.
That is true. Wow.
We started PR Lunch Hour. I was a beta tester for Twitter Spaces. And I believe I was complaining about something because I'm a habitual complainer. And I wound up connecting with Tam and Michelle
Self-awareness.
and I said, hey, I have this platform. Let's do something for the PR community that will allow us to, one, stay connected and two, find solutions. Because when COVID happened, we were all dealing with some very similar struggles, right?
Mhm.
But it was also a good time where a lot of businesses started to understand that they actually needed us. When you can't go out and network at meetings, when you can't be in person, when you can't depend on live events, they realized how much they actually needed to build their brand and connect with their clients in a way that will allow for them to be top of mind. So people started to really understand how essential we are when it comes to business. So PR Lunch Hour, we've been here, we've been through some things, and now we're here. You don't have to miss any episodes because you can just download us. How about that?
Yay.
How about that?
Shimmy,
We did
shimmy,
that.
shimmy.
Consistency is important, y'all. We talk about this often, but consistency is important, and We've consistently been here for you. Make sure you contact us if you need anything. We have a LinkedIn page for you to go to PR Lunch Hour if you have any questions, if you need help with anything, or just want to share. And we like elevating great stories also. So, yeah, those are my wins and losses. But let's get into poor PR, because there has definitely been some piss poor PR going on these days. Let's go ahead and start with you, Tam. What have you seen in regards to poor PR out there?
Let's start with Meta.
Let's start with Meta.
It's the most recent one. I mean, there's a lot. We could start here.
I'm listening. Let's talk about it. I think I did a TikTok
you did
on
do a
it.
post on this on LinkedIn, and I think you did a TikTok too.
Go ahead.
This is as objective as I'm going to go, because I know you went there too. Why would someone unveil community notes and essentially in a few minutes tank the reputation of their softwares, because it's a software, after seeing what happened on X?
I mean, we keep it real. So
Yes,
this really isn't about
posing a question. Okay, I'm posing a question.
Yeah.
Because we know that happened on X, and this happened before any of the things, but it's happened on X, which is why we've seen a lot of other platforms and softwares arise, like Blue Sky, Threads gained its popularity, etc.
Fan base.
Why fan base? Yes. Am I missing another one? Spill. So why would the one that was technically benefiting the most from the other one's mistake decide to go the same route?
Money. And what winds up happening is, and again, and I've said this, is that Mark Zuckerberg came out to basically get in front of the narrative for people that are less educated about how all of this works. He wanted to get in front of the narrative and position Meta products as one that is more in line with the cultural way of dealing with discourse. But we all know that the truth of the matter is he's trying to buy favor with someone that can put legislation in place that could harm him, and it could come out of his pockets.
Yes.
We cannot ever act like what someone says to us is the whole truth. We have to be better as a society in taking information and dissecting it in a way that gives you a good understanding about it, unless you just don't care. But if you make money off of Meta, if you put your information and your brand on any Meta product, it is important that you understand why this is happening. Now, good and bad, right? He's basically saying, I'm trying to protect this platform so that it doesn't go away at all, like TikTok. But he's also saying, yeah, I know y'all don't like what I'm about to do, but I'm about to do it anyways. So just giving you a heads up. Ha ha ha. Like
the end. But I mean, here's the thing though. You're right. And I alluded to it while you were chatting and talking about it, which is in PR, we have to learn how to read between the lines, and we have to learn how to get the message behind the message. It's also a good skill set to have in general, actually, especially in business. So whether you're building a brand or you are the point person for a brand, you're the PR person for a brand, you're the comms person, like it's always great to say, even if you're going to try to get ahead of a narrative, you need to be aware that the people you're talking to need to get the message, but some of them will get the message behind what you're saying. So you got to, this is mindset and tip number 1, 2025. Always know the message behind the message.
timing, message, and audience.
Yes.
Timing on Tam. We're naming this after you. Tam. Timing,
I'm a
audience,
yes.
and messaging.
Yes.
If you don't know anything else about PR, always question the timing, the audience, who they're talking to, and the audience. Let me go back to timing real quick. He just had a meeting with 47 out in Mar-a-Lago. Why he even allowed for that to be public, okay, I guess he's letting certain people know I'm trying to get
Mm-hmm.
along with the administration, which he did wind up saying in his diatribe, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so you go, people are upset. They're like, oh my God, he's meeting with him. There's going to be some changes. There was
Mm-hmm.
already talk about it. And then they made a donation to the inauguration fund.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, timing, audience. Now, who are you talking to? You're talking to the people that are going to be upset about these things. You're trying
Yes.
to get in front of the narrative for the people that are not happy about you meeting with him, you giving money to his inauguration,
Mm-hmm.
and now the message. It's what you said. But what you said was rubbish. For those of us that know what rubbish looks like,
Oh dear. Mercies.
that is what it was. But for the
Tanya
people
just.
that don't know what rubbish looks like, they're like, oh, that makes sense. Now he won't
Mm-hmm.
throw, they won't take my comments down. So I think the best thing that he actually did do was acknowledge that there have been people that have been punished um, un- unrighteously. So
Yes.
people's posts that have been taken down because
Mm-hmm.
they're using whatever filter tool, you've been treated wrong. We're going to fix that. So that was the win, and acknowledging that you're not perfect and things have gone wrong.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
you turn around and say, but we're not going to be fact checking anymore. So, you can just go in the notes and you and your friends can talk about how he lying, but we're not fact checking anymore.
You and your
And then we're moving our people that do
right.
that control the
Yes.
content to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So non-biased. Come on, dude, stop playing with me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's where I'm at with it. What about you?
Yeah. No, that was, I mean, I'm with you. I actually liked your post, I think, earlier today too. It's like that's true. And so at this point, we'll see, it'll unfold. I do think it was a misstep. I get the business objective reason why they did it and why he did it, especially, again, trying to protect the platform. Like I completely understand that and why it's in alignment with what most people would do as a business is protect the business.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's definitely a misstep because they were directly if anyone was benefiting, was Meta was directly benefiting first from the missteps that happened on X. So, you know, I'm here with popcorn and of course
To watch
um
the show.
notes, to see how this unfolds because I think this is going to be a case study. I think this is something we're going to be studying for a long time. But no one should be surprised. The business is loyal to itself. They always
Yep.
are,
Yep.
and that's
And
okay.
you're learning that, which I'm really happy about.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said, and you're learning that businesses are loyal to themselves, not to
Oh,
their
I mean,
employees
I've known this.
or even their customers.
Yeah, I've known this, and it's
I mean,
I think
personally.
as PR people, we do get wrapped up in the integrity and of the messaging, and like we want to like make change. We are change makers at the end of the day, but I do think what we're seeing, especially in this new media landscape, and just a whole bunch of things, the business is going to always be loyal to the business, and that is what it is, and it's part of protecting the business and all that it stands for and it is doing. So it's okay.
I have some piss poor PR that I want to talk
Yes.
about.
So yeah, we can move on from Meta, but I just have to start there. Move on.
So,
Oh
listen,
no, no.
yes, we
Lively.
do have to get into the Blake
Ah,
Lively
I'm so
situation
disappointed.
because
Okay.
when this lawsuit first dropped against Justin Baldoni, the
Mhm.
initial reaction, because of Me Too, is of course, she claims he did it. He was harassing her.
Yes.
Let's just believe her. And
Yes.
one of the other things you learn in public relations is wait a minute. Don't jump on the bandwagon. Don't just
Mhm.
assume you know the whole truth. It's probably never, your initial reaction is probably never what it's always going to be. So if you sit back and you actually listen to what's coming out, because more information always seems to leak out, you will see that that first narrative that you got, it's like, let me get the first punch, right? It's like,
Mhm.
let me get the first punch. But you will see that it is never really what that first punch um, was. So it's always interesting just to see how the story turns out after they initially dropped it. Now, why I wanted to talk about this as far as bad PR is because, yeah, she put the lawsuit out, but definitely could not keep the rest of the trash from falling out of the bag. You need to get a stronger trash bag. I tell my kids that they take the trash out. Can't be using no weak trash bags because all the trash will just spill all over the place. And guess what? After it spills all over the place, you're still responsible for picking up the trash. So she
Yep,
put out this
double work.
lawsuit, and now trash is all over the place. You got Baldoni filing another lawsuit. You have more information coming out about her husband, how he was a part of this whole situation that wasn't talked about. So if you stay ready and you read more about what's going on, you will realize it's not what you initially thought. And it's bad PR because she didn't plan for that. She didn't plan for all of this other stuff to come out, because if she did, the conversation would not look like she is a whole hot mess. And that's what it looks like now. She looks like the hot mess. And then recently she did she came out to help the people that were ravaged in the fire. But remember, it's it's timing, it's audience, it's messaging. The timing, yes, she came out and helped people with the wildfire, but it was like, as she dropped another lawsuit on Baldoni. So it's just messy. It seems like I'm just trying to change the narrative. It doesn't necessarily feel authentic.
Yep.
And Baldoni's been dropping all kinds of information about how this all played out and how her husband, who's not even a part of the movie, played a big part in the relations that took place during this whole drama. So I just give her like the for PR because it didn't play out. I don't like how they made it seem like PR people are trash. If you read through that first lawsuit and the PR people were trying to slander me, that's not our job. Isn't to slander anybody. Our job is to tell stories and to get information out that is pertinent to a situation. So I don't like how they had PR people looking, but I always say PR needs PR. So
yeah, which
there's that.
I mean, which is also the reason we started this, by the way. It's one of the things you said. But yeah, like PR needs PR, and you're absolutely right. It's what I mean, we've been preaching this for a while, and I know I consistently say this. Bringing PR into just a crisis is not the move. We can only, if you want us to spin, if you want us to tell the story, okay, we can only do so much of that, especially if you don't loop us in from the beginning. You do get messy. It gets messy. And can we also say this for the PR people out there, is that we a lot of times will bring all of our cards to the table and tell you what could happen, what couldn't happen, how to how to change the narrative, how to shape the narrative, how to curate the narrative. We can do all these things. But it's still up to you to implement it. And when you don't implement it with our,
Guidance,
our guidance, etc., you cannot then come blame us. Shook out. That is not how this works.
We're telling you how to do it, and you're like, "Nah, I'm gonna do it my way." But I'm gonna need you to clean this up. What?
Exactly. Like, again, looking at this objectively, right? I'm sure that I think it's a human reaction to go help everyone who's going through these wildfires. Like any natural disaster, the human response, at least a healthy human response, let's go with that, is to want to help. I think, and probably would bet, my lunch on this, eat lunch at, is that a PR person, even a legal person, to be like, let's think about the timing. Because PR and legal, I think people don't realize they work together a lot. AKA Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, just saying. They do work together a lot, and they like to always help you with the timing of things, especially when it is in a crisis. So it's just one of those things that, again, PRing for the PR people, it's like the PR people were probably just doing what they could do, and they were sharing a narrative and a story. And of course, because their job is to protect the reputation of their client and the brand, it might not put you in the best light. It just, objectively, like, we're going to make our client the hero. We're going to make our client have the good reputation. Even if we're apologizing for something, we're going to make it come across authentic. But we can give you all advice that we can. And just like a lawyer, if you decide not to listen or implement it that way, you have to also take accountability and responsibility for it not unfolding the way you wanted it to be. So
Let me tell you why else this is
Whew.
bad PR. It's actually
Mhm.
bad PR for domestic violence and workplace
Yes.
optics. Here's my thing,
Ugh.
and this is a personal take on as someone that has uh, survived a lot, okay,
Mhm.
including assault
Mhm.
and DV. You cannot sit here and tell me that you, a white, powerful, rich white woman with a celebrity husband, could not stop harassment on the job. She didn't say she was assaulted. She said she was harassed. Well, one,
Mm.
what is harassment? Let's talk about
Yeah,
harassment.
like yes, we should start
You
there.
have producer credits on this film. So you're also part of the leadership. At
Mm.
no point, you're telling me at no point could you use what you innately have to stop harassment and bad behavior? Because if you can't, with all of the tools that you have, what does that say to a regular person at a regular job? If I can't stop it, why would someone that has no power behind them, no authority, of color, and no means to deal with life if things go south with this position,
Mhm.
why would that even encourage them to do the right thing? I just feel like this does not set a good example for someone that is empowering. It's not empowering, it is messy. And there has to be better ways to deal with this if you have all those tools about you.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely something to think about. It's like if you're because what you're saying, I'm repeating back what you said. If you're what you're saying is that if you're put in this position of leadership on in an entertainment, you know, movie set, and these things still happened, and in addition to that, the movie and everything else kept going on, right? And there was no, like, we say in the workplace, like, report harassment, where you're supposed to report it, bring the evidence. You didn't do all of that, and then you bring the lawsuit, which then doubles down on the helplessness factor, and also not using the, you said tools, but I think even the first thing is just like reporting it. Like, you're in the room to report it, and then that makes everyone on the set or the leadership of the set accountable to investigate it
Yes.
before it gets to this point. It really, the underlying feeling and the it's not promoting any psychological safety, part one. It's not promoting any safety in general for those in the entertainment industry who, like, even just reporting it is the only step they have. Like, lawsuits come, you have to have money or you have to have access to the best legal team. It does pose this very, like, harrowing picture, and it's the opposite of what Me Too was supposed to do, which is
Right.
like share that when you step up and share your story, especially in a situation where you had no tools, you had no other option, that you should be believed. And, justice should be served, basically.
It just makes it harder for people that have less resources and opportunity for
Yes.
solutions.
Yeah. It's just, again, I'm thinking about it even like in a job perspective, like that, we all get training, and the idea is you report it first, and the lawsuit is the thing that happens after nothing has been done or taken care of. So there is this question of, like, why, with the access and the privilege and the, you know level of, like, you had on the set, why was it never reported? Like, what is that? And I'm curious, I've worked with lawyers, but I really love their mindset, because that is an argument that they would bring up in a case like this, is like, with all this happening, why weren't the steps followed? Like, we're taught that in jobs too, and in HR trainings.
Mhm.
So that's going to be interesting. But also, I do think that in cases like this, as we know, reputation always comes up. And I know we were talking about this offline, and that's something that really, like, for me, I like Gossip Girl. I did not watch this movie. It's not for me at this point. But I watched Gossip Girl. I'm a huge, comic book fan. I watched Green Lantern when it was both of them talking. I love Ryan Reynolds. I love Ryan Reynolds.
Mhm.
You know? Um, But I think for me, what this actually unfolded for someone like me who was like, I'm gonna tap out, do my, my holiday focus and stay out the news, is that when I came back to the news and like back to the whole like all the stuff, it brought out to me more of like her reputation than it did actual situation. And in PR, we always say you don't want the end message to be what you were trying to avoid. Like seriously, if we're again, we all have our personal, opinions about things, but like in that situation, like I tapped into the news and all of a sudden I'm hearing more about her reputation being horrible than I am hearing about the actual
harassment, right?
Correct, which is not what was supposed to be the point.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like
of reporting complaints and lawsuits. We'll move on to hot topics and one couple of things. And this actually goes to the brilliant branding piece of it too, because I'm not sure if you know this, but Unrivaled is a new league for WNBA.
Okay, no, I didn't know players. This.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they are going to have, during the off season, a 3-on-3 league that the players get paid more than they do in the WNBA.
Who's running this league?
I'm gonna let you. There's a lot of investors in this league.
Okay.
But so far, all of the players that have been signed onto this league, they are super excited. They have been treated so well. Their media day was incredible. Now I'm gonna need you to catch up. So when we're done with this, I need you to catch up, and we can come revisit this because it is. When we talk about the reports about how WNBA players have been treated and why Brittany Griner needed to go over to Russia, this is a solution. At the end of the day, what you want your new products, your services, your business to be about. Is it a solution? Do you have a solution to a problem that people have been complaining about? This solves all kinds of problems. The pay, it solves the treatment, it solves the players being feeling like they are important and integral, but it is a 36-player league. They have really been treated well. And I want everybody to go look at like the branding, how the players have been treated, what they are saying about it, because the best PR isn't what you tell people about, it's how other people talk about it. Exactly. So it's not even, it's funny because that you say you haven't even heard about it. I heard about it from other people talking about it. That is public relations. At the end of the day, that is public relations, and that is how you want to grow your business, your brand, is other people will be talking about you. Other people will tout how amazing you are or to support you. So yeah, you need to check up on that. All y'all that get a chance to watch this need to go check up on that. And my last thing for hot topics, and then you can let me know your initial feelings on this, because it is wild. Actually, you text me about this.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. No.
Rabbit hole since then. So this is one of my favorite articles about this whole situation is it's from Vox.
Okay.
But it really talks about how if you have not already caught up on the Fox Sports lawsuit with Skip Bayless and Joy Taylor and so many others, the VP of Fox, take the time to go through that. But what I wanted to talk about here is how Joy is getting the grunt of all of the ain't nobody talking about the VP. Ain't nobody really talking about Skip. They're like, no, she lying. Skip didn't do that. Here's my problem. Y'all talking about Joy and what she did. Joy has no power to hire anyone. Joy has no power to fire anyone. Joy does not have decision-making power. So why on God's green earth is she taking the brunt of all this? And I'm going to turn it over to you.
I was really hoping this wasn't true, which is why I text you, because I was like, no, please no. It's just, positive news. I mean, why is it she's taking the brunt?
Yeah.
I have not read this article, and I literally have been, disheartened since you confirmed this was true. But I, and again, this is allegedly because of course it's, a lawsuit. But I do think the reason that the social media discourse is what it is, and I think in general online, like forums, etc., is because this is actually kind of like, I don't say it's not whiplash I'm looking for, but it's really what was the normal conversation in society before the Me Too movement. Like, you blame the victim, like they did something, they, in this case, thinking they have the power to hire, like, I know that we have had the Me Too movement and we've had a lot of situations where we've seen like us believe victims even before it's legally proven and all that stuff, and even with the proven innocent until proven guilty and all that. But I do think there was like this pendulum swing, and now we're seeing it go back the other direction where it used to be, and we're just having this shock, which is why that it's saying at the title, like, it's allowing misogyny to resurface. It was always there, but I do think that was usually what people would think about. Like, even my reaction to being like, oh, I hope it's not true. Like, I was like, no, 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 no.
Now, let me be clear. The part of the story where the hairdresser says she told Joy something that had happened, and Joy was like, "Hey, get over it." That, I think, is a expectation of women to support other women. But the truth of the matter is, what can she do? If you are not going to move a situation forward, and we all know HR is there for the company, HR really ain't there for you. But if you say that again.
I love my HR people.
Really?
Well, I will say I've had the benefit in my career so far of having great HR people who were really good at being like, this is me HR, and I'm gonna tell you this personally. Like, they were able to like really separate the two. So, but there's that. That's another day. Yes. Different. But you're right. HR is, again, our roles are usually in functions to support the business. So absolutely right.
Yeah. So
she's like, whatever. Go on.
It's heartbreaking.
It is. It really is. It's just
So she hasn't said anything. Obviously, it's a legal case. And she hasn't said anything, but just the fallout from this has been like,
it's been pretty bad. Yeah.
I don't know about all y'all. So then, okay, let's talk about reputations here. Let's just get into reputations.
This is what it is. This is the thing.
Right. So there are a lot of men, though, that don't believe the Skip Bayless part of the story.
Right. Which makes sense. Yes.
Does it?
I mean, it's yeah. You don't.
So here's the best breakdown I heard about this, which is why I believe he did. One, he's ultra competitive. He's ultra competitive, and people don't really realize sometimes when you saying stuff, it's because you're trying to get a leg up. You're trying to win. So if for some reason, because this person, if you said something to them and they were insulting to you, being able to throw your money at a situation to win is something I could see a person doing. Now, again, this is all allegedly, but to say, I don't believe he did that, I think that really I don't believe he did that, but for her, I definitely believe she did that.
So the comparison, yeah. That's a psychological conversation.
I do not believe he did that. Men, he would never. Like, y'all grew up together or something. Like, what do you know about this man?
Well, I mean, there is an attachment. I will say this: whenever we're like, because this is voyeurism. Like, we're kind of all like watching this in a way,
right?
We're not a part of it, and
we're looky-loos.
I do think a big swing in like how we consume news is that it's almost like entertainment now. It's not so much as being informed. So we gotta put it on the table, right? I do think when it comes to any celebrity or like public figure that we are attached to, we automatically go to no. Like, it's easier for us to attach ourselves to the innocent until proven guilty version versus someone that we have no personal investment in. Like, you got to think, you've been watching Skip Bayless for years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they feel some sort of personal attachment to him in some way. So therefore, it's kind of like, it almost feels like, even as a public figure, it feels as if like, no, my friend wouldn't do that. That's how it's coming across. versus Joy Taylor is, she's just an out, like she's not someone that we have known. At least I'm not a sports person. People, I watch track and field, which is a sport, but that's my lane, okay? So this is not my lane. But I just think for Joy Taylor, like she's just like out of the blue, thrown into the spotlight. There's no, like, she has no backstory, she has no reputation that we've all been bought into. Like, again, we're talking about reputation here. There's no like storyline that we've been invested in. She's not a character that we knew in the story. So again, society and what typically people do aside, it's like it's way easier to have less compassion or less attachment to innocent until proven guilty to a person that you have no connection with. And I mean, we always say in PR, the whole point of our job is to build your connection. That's the whole point, right? But like, she has none. She probably didn't think she needed a PR person up until this very moment, which I get it. Which I get it, because she was like, I'm not in the limelight, I'm not at the level. But like, even for me, I'll use myself. When I heard it, now I have no attachment to Skip Bayless personally, like not really. But the reason I even asked is because there were other names, which I really don't want to say, that I was like, no, because I've watched her YouTube videos, I followed them on Instagram. Like I can speak for myself. I'll put myself out there. I was just like, oh my gosh, no, this can't be true. This can't be true. Like, this is ridiculous. That's what I said, because I had a personal attachment. So I think what we're talking about here is that when you feel invested in a public figure storyline or reputation, the PR lesson is people will more likely attach themselves to, oh no, innocent until proven guilty. It can't be true. Versus if you don't have any reputation and you're just like now popping up, they're like, yeah, absolutely. I'm serious. That's really what it is. We don't know her. Do you know her? I don't know her.
So the lesson here is build attachment. Let your community, let your customer, your clientele, your community build attachment towards you. But you also have to be vulnerable for that to happen. And that's another thing, is over the years, Skip has definitely been vulnerable about so many of his issues, his family or wife, his addiction, what he'd be drinking. And he has allowed for himself to be vulnerable to his audience over the years. So don't be afraid to be vulnerable and let your community get to know who you are, because at the end of the day, they're going to support you. It's like, if it's restaurants you go to all the time and their food is always good, and then they find out someone got sick, they're going to be like, oh, that had to be like a one-off. Like,
exactly. You will always give grace to the people that you have a personal attachment to, which is why I think, like, for example, why do people get mad at CEOs? They usually don't, like, they're usually removed. Not at small companies, but just in general, especially at big companies, they're usually removed. So like, the amount of grace a person's going to extend to the CEO is this much.
Yeah.
Versus their teammate. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, like this is so sad. Like, emotional intelligence. This is why we hire PR people, because we're like, they're not gonna give you that much grace because you haven't built this much reputation. You call PR only on crises. So now we gotta like all hands on deck. Let's get this together.
Help me. That's what it is. Help. Every PR call that comes after something has come about, you've lost. You've already lost. Keep in mind, if you're having to explain, you've already lost. So hiring somebody to try to explain what you did, it's already a loss. Now you just got to decide how great you're going to let that loss be. So I don't know, any other brilliant brands that you want to brag about?
Ooh. Honestly, surprisingly, I know you're going to look at me crazy for this. I know you're going to look at me crazy for this.
I will not.
There was this is late, but there was an ad. I think it was Uber, honestly. They did an ad, and I think I'm late on this, but it's right before the holiday season. But they talked about the ad was all about showing up, and it started off with someone like inviting people to a event.
I saw that.
Okay, yes. Inviting people to an event, and they and that people kept like declining, and it just showed that sadness. I think the person ended up being on a birthday cake, and they were super sad. And then they pivot. Like, at first, I was like, "Is this a mental health commercial?" I didn't think it was even Uber, to be honest. And then it switched into like, "We can help you show up, and we'll always be there." And I was like, "This is like great. The best ad." Like, it stuck. I was like, "This is the best ad I've seen in a minute because I just felt like the messaging like hit home.
Yes.
It wasn't like on the nose holiday, but it was like they did their homework on like they did their homework and they listened to their community and they also listened to the wider conversations happening. And it was a relief from like what was happening in the news, but it was just like so spot on and like you can still show up for people. That message was crystal clear. And I personally don't use the Uber. I'm a Lyft person actually. But I was like, oh, I like this. So that was really good to me.
And right now they're offering free rides and helping people with that have been affected in the fire. So I think Uber is like doing their big one right now in regards to messaging. So again,
that was big.
Timing, audience, messaging, they're nailing it. They're hitting it on the head right now. Go Uber. Who else? Who else is doing well? Rihanna, just being Rihanna.
I mean, of course. Hello.
We're not objective
over here. I am not objective about Rihanna.
She just shows up and just does her big one all the time.
Yeah, let that be known right now. We listen to or at any point. I am never going to be objective about Rihanna. I am personally tied in all sorts of ways. Okay,
everything she does is amazing.
I got the merch. I am Bayesian American, but you know I'm both. I am absolutely 1000% down with Rihanna. Period. Point blank. Okay. So not objective.
So it's not just because you're an island girl?
Let's be more specific. I am literally from the country that she was born. No, it's not just from island girl over here. I am literally Barbados. It is like what? Absolutely.
Yes.
But
like hometown hero. Absolutely. Hometown hero. Yes.
It was Ree. I will say though, Rihanna, the reason I love Rihanna so much, besides my obvious bias, is that Rihanna is so authentically herself. And even though she's creating brands, it never feels disconnected. And that's really hard for celebrities to do because a lot of them create personas that are public personas. And then they have to keep up with that persona. And Rihanna just hasn't. And again, I'm biased. So you can fight me in the comments. But like, I really feel like Rihanna just is who she is. And like every time she just like, what was she doing the other day? She was doing caviar with something chicken. It was something like she showed on social media. And like, I think I told you this, Tonya, I'm not eating caviar. I mean, it was not right now. Don't hold me to it. I just haven't done it in my life at this point, and it's not on my bucket list. So I don't anticipate it, but I will never say never. And I just felt like something that was so like luxe, she made it feel so like
down to earth,
like down to earth and practical and grounded. And that's just something that she is really able to do all the time. And I mean, she can do. I got all the merch. I'm still mad that I didn't get my Super Bowl merch on time, but I got the Christmas pajamas.
It's like I'm not playing Fenty.
I do not play. I missed out early in my, but now I'm just like, ooh, I am savage Fenty.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. I love it.
Yes, I love her. How about you though? This is
there any other brands that are really just nailing it right now?
Snoop Dogg.
Probably not.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop is doing his big one right now. Yes. He's killing it. He can advertise anything. Literally. The NBA is not. They're not doing great right now.
No,
the NFL they're doing their thing right now.
They actually are. Netflix.
Costco.
Costco is doing a big one. True.
Costco's doing their big one right now.
Thank you for
McDonald's is not. McDonald's is not.
I mean, can we give them a moment? Just a moment can we give them an honorable mention for
sometimes I'm like, why are y'all causing problems for yourself? Like,
I mean, that is true.
Are you people that just decide to cause problems for yourself? Why?
I mean, can we give them kudos for like taking a risk? But I will say, okay, maybe not. Maybe we do disagree on that. But I will say I will give McDonald's kudos for being savage online. See, I tied that Rihanna in that reference.
I like that. I like that.
When they hopped on the Kendrick train with the mustard.
They did.
I would expect that from Wendy's, to be honest.
Wendy's is always on point.
Always on point.
With petty, yes.
Unserious and unproblematic. We'll give them that. We love a brand.
Absolutely.
But yes, I will give McDonald's because they hopped on that. And you want to know what's funny is that I saw their tweet before I had even listened to the full song. Which is hard to do. That was hard to do in 2024. Probably 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. It,
They
we're
did their big one. You're
It
right.
is
So
them.
they're up and down, back and forth, but consistency always wins.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Consistency
Kudos to
always wins.
Wendy's.
So
Honorable
listen,
mention to
let the
Mc-
people know what you have coming up, what they can look out for,
Whew.
if anything. I don't know.
I
What's going
mean, my
on?
biggest thing, like I said at the beginning, is my newsletter. Of course, also PR Lunch Hour. Make sure you subscribe on Spotify and all podcasts, and also make sure that you're liking our LinkedIn page. So that's the biggest thing you can expect from us. But also, like my newsletter, I'm really tapping back into my words,
Mm,
you know? So I'm super excited about that. And I'm just here to have a good year, okay?
I hear you. I hear you. Well,
Here's
I am. Let's see. I have a couple of webinars coming up. Not webinars. I'm sorry. Cohorts. So a
Mm,
media, PR and media cohort. So for those of you that need public relations and media, but you cannot afford a publicist, you should still know how to get media for what you're
exactly.
doing,
Yeah.
especially locally. There's no reason that you cannot get local coverage for the work that you are doing. If you're doing good work, you have a company, a brand, you should be able to secure some local media coverage for the good things that you are doing. So that is the media cohort that's coming up. I'm also doing a cohort for, I am the trainer for Black Podcasters Association. So I'm doing a podcast cohort for them. And I have a Slack channel now for those that want to just be in community with
Mm,
me and other PR professionals, other professionals. So I have a channel for, PR people. I have a channel for um, just anybody that you want to talk about ideas, you want some feedback, you need people to hear your thoughts or fill out a
mhm.
survey that has something to do with PR media coverage, branding, things of that nature. It's just a safe space to kind of run your ideas through. And I think everybody needs that.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, if you want it or not, that's a whole different conversation. But I'll
You
be
can't
putting
really
all that
say.
information in the caption. So if there is something, any kind of way that you want to connect, you need help, you want to chat, and we don't have a lot of time to just help people individually. So
Mm,
most of the time, when someone has a question, other people have that question also. So it makes
mhm.
sense to have a space where we could just kind of banter about that, or you can get help, or you just want to be in a room full of people doing cool things. That is the Slack channel. And then obviously the best win and what's coming up is we'll have another PR lunch hour in 2 weeks. So with that being said, we want to thank you for being here. Tam, give them your socials if they want to be in contact. How's the best way to
Oh,
connect with you, to be in community with you? What's going on?
yeah. I mean, so on LinkedIn, Tamara Sykes. So right here on the bottom of the screen, just make sure you write that down. But other than that, you can catch me on any platform as Badian Girl, and on Instagram specifically, the Badian Girl, and that's BAYDIAN Girl. And yes, it's connected to my Bayesian roots, which is again connected to Rihanna. Absolutely. Just saying.
All about it. And for me, Tonya McKenzie PR on all social media platforms. I don't really be on Twitter that much no more,
Yeah, me
every so
either.
often, but for the most part, other social media platforms. Or, there's always Sand and Shores. So you can always find me on sandandshores.com, Sand and Shores on Facebook, still on Twitter, Instagram. I'm there. We're easy to find. But most importantly, go to our LinkedIn page, PR Lunch Hour. We are there. If there's something you need help with, if there is something, article or something you want posted and elevated, that's what we're here for, to help you feel better connected to the PR and media community, understand what's going on, interpret some of the madness that's going on, and make it make sense. Make it make
Make it
sense.
make sense.
Make it
Absolutely.
make sense. So until next time, we'll see you soon. Thank you for being here. Tam, anything before we get out of here?
No, you said it. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.